Good morning and welcome to SHUKC Sports Pass. I am David Brox and joined alongside, as usual, by Mr. Vernon Birmingham.
Good morning, SHUKC listeners and followers and viewers. I just
Very,
realized I got rid of the nickname. Like I'm no longer the Nature Boy.
well, I didn't want to do anything we did
I kind
last
of I
year.
kind of grew up a little bit.
Who are you now?
Just me, Vernon Birmingham.
All right. We were not able to sync up with a player this week. We had a couple of people that I was talking to. One was not able to get a ride here this morning. The other one wasn't available. So,
Should have used Uber.
Uber.
You don't know what Uber is?
No.
Come on, man.
Would it be able to? I don't know anything about
You got to
Uber.
research that, man.
So we will have Coach Jim Smith from Atchison join us a little bit later on in the show. But right now I was going to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives we got going on at SHUKC this year. Same type of thing as everything else, but I guess we'll put out there now that we got 501c3 status. We are an official charity, Mr. Vernon Birmingham. So if people would like to make tax-deductible donations towards one of our initiatives that we got going on, our yearly postseason sports award ceremony, we try to do things a little bit bigger and better each year with that in terms of the size of the trophies and everything that we do for the defensive and offensive players of the year, trying to include other sports as well. So if you would be interested in that, definitely hit us up. I am going to kick off and try and get going, and I got one of my Sligo alumni people here. Maybe you'll be our first member of the SHUKC Sligo Booster Club, Mr. Vernon Birmingham. Can I count on your support?
Well, the way my account is set up, I have to check.
So, and last thing, we did kick this off last year, our SHUKC Scholarship Award winner. So some might think off the cuff that we'll probably pick a football or a basketball boys player, but we ended up taking awarding Madison Bosworth out of Lansing, who is going to be on the road team at K-State. Very involved in the community and very intelligent, too, with good ACT scores and everything as well. So
And rowing's a tough sport. It's not as easy as people think it might be. They think you should sit in a boat and just, nah, it's a little bit more than that.
So if you would like to get involved in any of those initiatives, reach out to me, and then we'll definitely have a discussion on that. So, Vernon, let's talk a little bit of last night. We're out in the cold at Sumner Academy or at Harmon.
I mean, we're just letting the people know how we support and we do what we do. Us three, Mark Snyder, we sat out there in the blistering. It wasn't really blistering, but it was cold. They were selling half cups of hot chocolate. But hey, we do this for you guys, young people. We go out there and sit in the cold for you.
Absolutely. So I thought a pretty good game. You get a little bit more information week 1 to week 2. Sumner Academy falls at home against Atchison, 25-14. Very physical game that was played last night, Vernon.
Yeah, physical game. One thing we're seeing early in the year, teams flying around the football a little bit. We're seeing some hits, we're seeing some missed tacklings, but both teams were aggressive on both sides of the ball on defense, per se. Offense, I'm just going to continue to work through some things, both teams. Still probably look pretty vanilla the first, weeks or whatnot, but Atchison looked good when it mattered on the offensive side of the ball.
So a lot of penalties, a few turnovers in the ball game, a little sloppy at the beginning of the season, but hopefully those things kind of work out as things get going. Let's run through the rest of the scores real quick. Wyandotte, disappointing trip to St. James yesterday, 36-14, and I was listening to the radio. I had heard the guy doing a recap for St. James said that this game was over at the half. It was 36-0 in the half. They put JV in at the halftime, and that's where Wyandotte was able to score their 2 touchdowns. So big opportunity. We'll talk about our picks a little bit later on, but Wyandotte now turn around and have to face their rivals in Sligo.
Yeah, and St. James is a quality. They're not as big as a Wyandotte, but they're a quality program, like a lot of the kind of private schools around the area. So, that didn't surprise me much. I thought St. James would win. And, yeah, kind of pretty much ended up the way I thought it was. I didn't think it would be too close, but I thought St. James, probably a little bigger than Wyandotte as well. So, as far as line size.
So, Baser Linwood out with a statement now. This is a statement win on the road at Lansing, shutting them out winning the game 13-0. How about this defense at Baser?
Well, I said last week the only reason I was picking Baser was because I liked Baser's defense more than Lansing's offense at the time. And, being able to go that week one, be able to pretty much shut down I can't remember who Baser played that week one. Baldwin. Able to shut them down for most of the game. So, at this time of the year, their defense is playing really well.
Jerron McPherson gets in the end zone for one of those touchdowns. Got word, saw on Twitter, talked to Colin McQuillan. He got injured last night, knee, so we'll have to hear what that is going to mean for the Lansing Lions over the next few weeks. But, that's a very productive player that'll be out of that lineup. So Lansing's offense, out of the gate struggling without Khalil Bailey. We'll move on to the surprise. Not so much a surprise anymore now.
Yeah.
The Turner Golden Bears down 9-0 at the half. What I would love to have been a fly on the wall of the in the locker room of what Coach Milne said at halftime to his team, because they came out gangbusters.
Yeah, pretty much 28-6
in the second
half. It's pretty solid.
They get the victory on the road at Tonganoxie 28-15. Numerous players this week had a contribution, so good win for Turner. And we'll talk a little bit about the matchup they got coming up on Time Warner Cable TV game. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, Vernon. We were talking about earlier in the week now, we got a lot of our schools. I think like 8 of the 14 schools we got now. Mill Valley was just on TV this past week against Blue Valley Northwest. Time Warner making their way into KCK and the SHUKC territory.
Yeah, which, we talked about a while back. The reason that we actually wanted to kind of do this was to get a little publicity and things for the KCK, those Call Valley schools. And like I said, we can't compete from as far production-wise and all that stuff, of course, with the Metro Sports and things like that. However, we place all of our eggs in that basket right there with those teams. So it's not a competition thing, but I'm glad that they're starting to see a little bit of what we are doing and able to come cover, even though a couple of them are Thursday night games, still be able to come and show them some love. So
Bishop Ward versus Turner. A game a couple of years ago. You wouldn't think that would be a great game, but it is. It's good to see them get that exposure. I know Wyandotte versus Washington is going to be on Time Warner Cable. Tonganoxie versus Piper is another game that'll be out there. So, again, good for the exposure for the area. Real happy to hear about that. So, Bishop Ward will come into this game 0-2 as they lose at Ottawa 41-13. I got corrected on this morning. I said Cole Henley had 2 touchdown runs, but it looked like they were doing it through the air. A couple of touchdown passes or receptions for Cole Henley in the loss. So, a bit of concern now for Ward about finding that first W.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was kind of looking at this last night. I thought that win would come week one, which didn't happen, which is why I had to sing that great Sumner fight song last week. But, we kind of searched the schedule trying to figure out where's that now. It's kind of where's that win going to come. So
with Turner playing a little bit better, opportunity for the Bears to come out 3-0. So we'll see what our picks are a little bit later on. Sligo gets their first win, and it was impossible. I couldn't get a score back from anybody. The last score I saw in the game, so this is not official until we actually get it noted somewhere, but 42-12 over East. So we'll work on getting confirmation on that. So I don't know how to take this next score. 46-14, Highland Park gets the victory over Harmon.
I was watching last week's show. I was so wrong. I apologize. I said both of these teams stink when I was going back watching this. So I apologize both of those teams. But it just looks like Highland Park doesn't stink as bad.
But Harmon with 2 touchdowns. So, it's they are getting in the end zone. I don't know what the situation was or when they scored and anything there. So, close game, but Bonner Springs surprises some, perhaps, with a win at Chanute 32-30. Is that team is starting to get the offense going here a little bit?
Yeah, I thought Bonner would pull this one out. I was kind of saw the score from Chanute the week before, and I thought Bonner. It's always you always have to consider the travel a little bit, and Chanute's not around the corner. It's a good hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, but a little back and forth game between those two, and Bonner was able to pull it out and get the victory. So, again, starting 2-0, with new programs, new teams, new quarterbacks, things like that, just getting momentum, getting wins. Going back to Turner, after what they had to do with Paul Berry to be able to come out with this new group and get a couple wins. Same thing with Bonner. Jordan Jackson, be able to get new nucleus in some positions and be able to get wins early on is really big on building that confidence.
So last game on Friday night that we had, Piper, again, another workman-type effort. I mean, not blowing it away on offense or anything like that. We heard from Coach Brindle. He said that there was a long touchdown pass that might have made the numbers look a little bit better that got called back. But Colton Beebe with a touchdown, Trayvon Jones with another rushing touchdown, 2 weeks in a row for him with a rushing touchdown, and Baines with a throwing touchdown, and they shut Baldwin out.
Yeah, defense.
So we got a couple of games to focus on now is Piper. Actually, I take that back because I think Baser will be playing Bonner Springs this week.
Right.
And I think Piper will be at Lewisburg, so we'll focus on that. So, all right, next game, we had a couple of teams playing on Thursday night. Actually, we already talked about the Baser game, but Washington, unfortunate situation at that game. I think they only played like a little over a half before a fight actually breaks out. So 44-0, Washington gets the victory over AC Prep. Actually heard that the coach over AC Prep might have stepped down like after the game too. So not a good situation to ever hear about something like that.
Yeah.
No comments really.
Yeah, I don't speak on allegations.
Yeah. Blue Valley Northwest, 6A school. So Vernon should be apologizing again for saying that Mill Valley was going to play some small Missouri team.
Well, it's just off on the schedule a little bit. I thought they played. We didn't get a chance to look at it because you didn't post the matchup last week. So I just threw a dart out there. I thought they played a smaller school. But, again, you're stepping up, playing in competition to try to get yourself ready for the last 3 games of the year, in the playoff run. So, Coach Appleby had to think, of course, you probably think you can go in and win, but if not, you're going to take some lumps potentially by building this type of schedule. Again, it hurts right now, for those guys. 10-1 last year, won 10 straight, coming out losing 2 straight. It's going to hurt a little bit. They got to go play a tough team this week in the defending state champion, so they could easily start off the season 0-3. Then I think they play Staley not too long after that. So there'll be bumps early on, but the whole purpose of this schedule is for the last 3 games and whatever happens after that. So I'm sure he was aware of that while building the schedule.
So 36-24, Coach Appleby talked about, some of the correctable mistakes that they're having in the offense and defense that they can make up and again, hopefully get it going. But traveling to Derby, a very good team down there, that'll be another challenge for them as well. So we'll go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and talk with Coach Smith from Atchison. We'll be right back with more SHUKC Sports Pass. All right, David Brock's back, SHUKC Sports Pass, joined by Coach Smith, 2-0 on the season. How surprised are you, Coach, to be 2-0 at this point?
Well, a little bit surprised for as young as we are, but extremely pleased.
So a big win on the road at Sumner Academy last night. So talk about 2-0 start. You guys kind of turned over a lot from last year and what you had on offense with Huntington, Gassman, and House. So, again, talk a little bit about the coaching job you guys have done to get the team to 2-0.
Well, I think we came in this year with the thought that we need to really simplify things, not throw so much at the kids. And we knew we were going to be young coming in. I didn't think we were going to be this young, but the kids have really adjusted well. They come in and practice hard every day. This summer, they had a great summer. We had probably 25, 30 kids daily in the weight room, and usually led by the sophomores.
You said something that made me think about something. How big is Atchison?
What did we say, about 10,000?
Okay. What about the school?
School, we have 430 students.
Okay.
And that's 9 through 12.
Wow. I didn't know it was that.
That's small.
Yeah. That's why you said 25 or 30. That's what made me kind of think of that question right there. So physical game last night, and you guys actually kind of played well and head up well. Talk a little bit about the toughness of your team, being able to grind it out the way they were able to do, especially on the ground.
Right. And like you said, it was a tough game. We were pretty beat up this morning. We practiced this morning at 8 o'clock, and I had to take some kids out to see the trainer. Took 5, actually, to see the trainer. We talked at halftime, and I told the kids, we have to come out this second half and get some ownership because they were putting it to us. They really were a good physical team.
a little sloppy with some of the fumbles and stuff like that. So correctable errors that you have is still able to get some victories. Talk a little bit about some of the mental adjustments maybe the kids will make over the next few weeks.
Right, and then there was a couple times where we just didn't take the handoff right, but they had their hands in there on the ball, stripping it. One crucial one there in the early fourth quarter, we're driving, we hit the ball down the 20, and I knew Joaquin Gill, our quarterback, was tired, and Parker Welch, our running back, were tired because we ran that power play over and over. So I said, well, let's just give a dive to the fullback and get a little break, and it backfired on us.
So was that more of a just exchange problem there, or
yeah, we just
quarterback been tired not getting to the spot, or?
And the fullback didn't have his hands just right, and and I didn't think about it, but the fullback he'd been working too, lead blocking on all those plays, and maybe it'd been a good time for a timeout. You look back, and hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
But it was just a little mental mistake that we made. That things are, as we go on in the season, we can correct.
Yeah, I mean, even when that happened, Monday morning quarterback over here, he was sitting up in the boxes like, Coach should have called timeout. Should have called. No, he really didn't. But
he was the one saying that only Parker Welch or Joaquin Gill should be touching the ball at this time.
I did say that, but. So speaking of Joaquin, at Media Day we talked a little bit about a little quarterback competition going on. He actually ended up winning the job. So, has he surprised you thus far?
He's just such a tremendous athlete. We were Coach Hall, who is our basketball coach, as well as our assistant football coaches. And we were talking about just how fast he is. And I just don't know how fast he is, but I know how quick he is. And he's a very intelligent player. He's a great student. He just makes good decisions out on the field.
I said the same thing last night. I said I don't know 40-time-wise how quick he is, but he has that first step, that first burst. I was actually talking to Coach Hall. He said you guys had some conversations about, comparing what his speed might be against a Pleasant Ridge and then maybe against some better athletes at Sumner Academy. He was constantly able to make that first person miss over and over again last night.
Exactly. And, again, it's that first step that a lot of people don't have like he has.
So, I guess we were talking last night. Who does he remind you of? We were just out of nowhere. He kind of. I was thinking of Pat White, left-handed, not a great thrower, but can make that quick first move and get upfield. Again, probably not as fast.
Again,
but,
yeah. I really didn't think of who he reminds me of with that first step, but I'm glad we have him.
Right.
Yeah, back when I played at Schlegel and I wore number 5, so if you go back and look at some film, he might remind you of myself.
Well, now how old do you think I am?
So I was kind of thinking this earlier. So with the quarterback competition going on, and we see what Joaquin's able to do back there, running the ball a little bit. Was there ever thought of maybe playing him in the backfield and having Adam playing quarterback?
Well, one of my thoughts was putting Joaquin out to the wide, and you saw we did that last night. And our goal is just to get the ball and throw it out quick to him and let him do his thing out in the open field. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that playoff because Sumner did such a great job of pass rushing us.
So. Talk about, the rest of the team and blocking for Joaquin because, he obviously keeps plays alive. There was one time he might have went to the one side and got back to the opposite sideline on the play. He scored a touchdown but had a couple of blocks in the back. Do you talk to your team about, maybe staying disciplined and stuff and keeping the play alive, knowing what he can do? And
that's what we talk to our linemen about. We tell them, we don't need the big block. Just get out there, get in front, stay in front of your man, keep your feet moving. You don't need to pancake block. Just get in front, get us 4 yards, and they have really done a tremendous job. I got really excited about one of our linemen, and Jace Nelson. He's playing a backside guard that we're pulling him about every time. And, Jace is not a big kid. He's 165 pounds, 5'10", but, gosh, he just does a great job of form blocking and getting out in front.
So that's where you're running on the right side over and over?
But he's our left guard, and we're pulling him on the power play. Go. And, again, he's just getting out in front. Nick Buster's our starting right tackle. He's a new student we have at our school, and he's doing a tremendous job.
So just out of curiosity, maybe I don't know if you could share after the game, who spotted the weakness that you guys wanted to try and get over on that right side and kind of power that way?
Well, I hate to say it, but it may have been Coach Hall, but Coach Funk as well. Coach Funk's our line coach, and he said some things, and we were all talking at halftime. We just need to attack that side.
Right, and I was just about to kind of mention that myself when we saw that third quarter. You just hit that. You know, how tough is it, especially from, I don't know who your play caller is.
You're talking to him.
Okay, so, you know, when you find something that's going there to kind of get off whatever script or things you might have, it's just continue to go to that same spot
Right.
until they're able to stop it.
It's tough. You got all those plays listed in front of you, and you know, and I'm probably one of the worst. I got to try something else just because that's the way I am. But I held to the guns, and we just kept going. And kids were laughing at it this morning: 16 power, 36 power, 16 power, 36 power.
Hey, but it's working, don't it?
Yeah, I'm a fan
And
of
we
that.
said that too during one of the timeouts. I said, guys, if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it. So
How big of a difference is the offense from last year to this year?
it's not a whole lot different. We're not doing as much, and we're not doing as much in practice, and I really think it's helped.
So you're able to work your son Adam into the lineup at wide receiver. You know, with him actually being a quarterback as well, you have a smart guy out there who's able to read defenses out there, maybe even do some trickery with them and things like that. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Adams is a very smart athlete. Heck, he knows the offense better than I do. You know, he's been listening to me since
17,
second grade
yeah.
and being the ball boy, and he sees things when he's standing on the sidelines, and it's the biggest thing with him is I can trust that he knows exactly what I want.
Another surprise, I guess, and what's helping keep Joaquin Gill open is what Parker Welsh has been able to do at the running back position. Talk a little bit about him and how hard he's running and the effectiveness of his game.
You know, Parker runs with such a good lean, and, you know, I saw that last year as a freshman when he would spell Austin House for us, and unfortunately he got hurt halfway through the season. But, yeah, he gives us that good 1-2 punch that we need, and he just runs hard. Like I tell him, get us 3-4 yards, anything after that. And you see it on tape this morning especially. I noticed a few times he was starting to hit it wide, a little too wide, but he turned his shoulders and got square to the line of scrimmage and picked up that yardage.
We talked about that a few times. Joaquin gets a little east-west a couple of times there. Is that something you talk about, you know, make a decision and get upfield?
You know, it was funny. I talked to him last night during one of the timeouts. I said, you watch K-State play? Do you watch them? And I'm not a big K-State fan by any means, but I love watching their quarterbacks. And they're patient. They sit back there. And I said, as quick as you are, just stay back, be patient, and then wait for something to open. And he talked about that this morning, about how he finally started seeing that.
Yeah, and I did say that too. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. When I did say that, actually, I think at one point I said he's actually looking like K-State's quarterback on that drive. He actually just being patient and finding the right spot to go. So let's talk about the line a little bit. You know, a lot of times the hogs up front, I mean, you said you got some small guys. They don't get a lot of love. We actually was just talking about how David discriminates. He always bring in running backs and quarterbacks and wide receivers in here.
Sure.
We need to get some linemen in here. Talk a little bit about the guys up front.
The guys up front, again, there's some young kids up there. In fact, we only start, I'll take that back. We do start 2 seniors now. We had one we had moved position-wise. He got hurt in the first drive last night, and Brian Spillman, our left tackle. Joe Doman, sophomore, he's a new move in. He stepped in, did a fantastic job. Of course, we talked about Jace Nelson. Our center, Jacob Barnett, sophomore, does a great job of snapping for us, especially out of that shotgun. And our right guard, Kevin Birkinshay, who is also one of our team captains. And then Nick Buster starting the right tackle for us. And tell you, I got to mention Logan Mawasik last night, tight end. He did a fantastic job of blocking.
That block he had on Gill's 80-yard run he set that edge, and then Joaquin was able to get around, and he set some blocks last night too. So we were saying that last night as well, having the wide receivers and people out on the edge that'll set that corner, huge advantage for everybody.
Exactly.
So let's go over on the defensive side. You guys held them to 150 yards, real physical game. Talk about your defense a little bit and what you saw.
Well, I saw what I've been seeing. We need to tackle better. You know, so many times those kids last night are so powerful in their legs, and we're trying to tackle around the shoulders, and we've got to stop doing that. We go to the ball well. I think we run to the ball very well. Again, a young group. We start 5 sophomores on defense, and they do a lot of. It's one of the best groups I've had in a while as far as communication. They talk. Austin Bonnell at the middle linebacker. Not very big, but gosh, he's always around the ball. And I think a lot of it, and Coach Norris will probably give me a hard time, you know, we do so much practice in defense. We don't ever practice offense.
So, I mean, giving up 150 yards, one of them, like you said, was on a 59-yard touchdown pass. Well, he was 3 missed tackles on that
Three
one.
guys,
So,
it almost looked like they knocked each other off.
yeah.
And I was real disappointed in the way we tackled on that one because we were there to make the play and didn't make plays.
So is that, been doing this for a while, is that just something you just kind of see early in the year that's typical to not tackle as well, then get better as it going on, or just not?
Being young like we are, and like you said, we're trying this, I shouldn't say this new tackling that's they're recommending, hitting with or attacking the front near pec when you're tackling. We watch a lot of tapes. There's such a safety concern now that and we're working that day in and day out in practice. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I think so often kids just think they can grab and pull others down.
Right.
And some of those kids like last night are so dang strong in Green and Cobbins, and you can't do that.
So looking ahead, you got a big matchup now at home against Washington, who won league last year. So an opportunity to really make some noise now if you guys can get that win against them.
Yeah, they've got a snake bit in the last 2 years. We've been right there, able to win one way or another, and unfortunately we've been on the wrong side of that. And coach is doing a great job over there at Washington.
So how do you approach this then? I guess what is the message to your team? I mean, this last week was last night was a league matchup, and like I said, going against the defending league champions at home at your place. What is kind of that message you're kind of going to this week?
I don't want to make too much out of it because it is only week 3. These kids, last year was their first taste of going against Washington. So, I'm not going to make a whole lot of it, but they need to be aware of the league implications on it, and hopefully they can step up.
So do you spend a lot of time, much time watching last year's game to prepare for this one?
We have 2 game tapes on them
Okay.
from this year. That's what we do in our league is we switch 2. And I'll watch a little bit of it. They do have Harrison back at quarterback and Peoples down at the defensive line, probably one of the best in the state. And we just got to be prepared and just keep doing what we're doing well.
So been doing this 17 years now. I mean, you exchange the film now kind of through Huddle.
Oh, yeah.
I remember back in the day you had to go meet somebody at the gas station somewhere and exchange VHS tapes.
I've got a brother that coaches down in Pittsburgh, Kansas at Colgan High School, and this is the first year he's gotten into Huddle, and he's
loving it.
Well, he's not. He goes, should I do it? Should I? I've been trying to tell him for 2 years to do it. So he's finally stepped into the 21st century.
Who's handling your Huddle? You guys are probably one of the most thorough Huddle users. I think Coach Hall was saying you guys do it real time with an iPad or something like that.
I don't know what all that is.
You
But
just
that's
get in and
Coach
watch.
Hall, Coach Harris. Coach Hall and Harris are probably the big 2.
What's kept you in coaching this long? Just love it. 17 years. You're probably,
Just the love of the kids, the love of the game. I used to coach with a man by the name of Terry Jordan. And Terry's at Leavenworth now, but Terry used to say, how does it get any better than this? You get to come out, you get to play with kids all day long and get paid for it.
there you go. So you've gone through now along 17 years. You got to see your daughter grow up. Talk a little bit about seeing Erica graduate last year and all the success she had in basketball.
It's just what a tremendous feeling. Very proud. I know how hard she has worked. She gets after. She's one of the hardest workers there is as far as getting in the weight room. She kind of set the tone for the girls at the high school. She really did, and good student. So you couldn't ask for more.
So she'll be at Highland Park this year, right?
Highland
I
America.
said
I call it Highland America. She's up there right now. She's nursing a knee injury.
Okay.
She tore her MCL.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but she'll be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And she's coming home tonight. It's her birthday's Monday,
Oh,
so
there
she
you go.
thinks she's going to get a present or 2. So.
Okay.
Let's talk about your staff a little bit. Been around a long time. You have a lot of same coaches that's been around you for a while, or you bring in some new guys?
We've been around, Coach Harris and I have been together since I started.
Really?
Yeah, and Coach Norris has been with us, 10 years now? And then Coach Sam Funk's the same way, and then Coach Hall joined us a couple years ago. So, and it's really nice because we all know what each other's going to do, and we we're all really close friends, and that really makes a big difference.
What's the best memory you have over the last 17 seasons?
Oh gosh, just some of the quotes some of the kids give you. It's just, I wish I'd have kept a book.
Yeah.
We were talking about one the other day. I had a young man come out 3 days after the season started, and I said, "Yeah, when we start practice, you need to pay a lot of attention. You're behind." He says, "Oh, Coach, I'm okay. I've been playing football on my Nintendo." I said, "Well, you're going to find it's a little different."
That's a
Boy,
good
you're
one.
playing some Tecmo ball.
Yeah, some old school. I'm sure that some of the pregame music's changed over the
Oh
years.
boy.
So one more question about back and forth. So, Coach Smith, year 1 versus year 17, what do you think is the difference? How have you grown? I guess what is the biggest difference you see in yourself?
A lot more patient, I think. The kids probably don't think so, but
We're talking about you. You maybe lost a headset over there at one point. You got
Oh,
had
boy.
to call a timeout.
and it was all just because we can't get in a simple formation.
Right.
He's like over 17 years, you can probably get away with breaking a headset or two.
Well, yeah.
If not, David will get you a new one.
There you go.
We'll put it in the SHUKC
Yeah.
budget. Hey, Coach, we appreciate the time this morning and wish you the best of luck this week against Washington.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me come down.
Absolutely. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Yep.
All right, David Brock, SHUKC Sports Pass, back with Vernon Birmingham. Good talk with Coach Smith. What were your impressions of, what he had to say about his early season in the Atchison Redmen?
No, it's just, great interview. I just think, kind of as he said, and surprised a little bit because of inexperience. But as you think about it more, a lot of those guys are sophomores and juniors. So, if they continue to kind of keep the road and grow this year, they could finish the year, potentially winning league championship, maybe try to get into the playoffs a little bit. But I'm sure at the same time, back of his mind, he has to be thinking this group's going to be really good.
There was a couple
probably next year.
There's a couple of injuries last year. He talked about it a little bit with Austin House and Parker Welsh getting some carries last year. So he was able to get them onto the field last year and get them some experience, and it's paying some dividends this year for the Redmen. So let's go into our pick segment. You're a little bit ahead of me right now, Vernon, with a 9-2 record
I should do
last week.
Dirty Bird.
I'm going to do you seen that commercial with the Icky Shuffle?
Yeah.
44, baby. So let's go through our picks. I was 7-4 last week.
7-4. Your man was 9-2. Winning.
Well, we'll get it going this week. It's a long season. It's like you said a few weeks ago. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So we'll start out. Let's start with the Time Warner Cable game. You get to be on TV. You get a couple of perks. You get to be first in our pick segment here. Let's talk about the Turner Golden Bears against the Bishop Ward Cyclones.
The good people at Bishop Ward know I have love for him. Shout out to my Bishop Ward Twitter followers at V Birmingham Jr. Notice how I start to get that in there every week now. However, going with the hot hand right now, the Turner Golden Bears.
I won't go into a lot of analysis and say Turner as well, so we will have a like pick on that one. Baser Linwood goes to Bonner Springs. So with Bonner's offense that they've had the first couple of weeks going against a very good Baser defense, I like the mojo that Coach Stahlbaumer had. Shout out to Coach Stahlbaumer. He was the Kansas City Chiefs Coach of the Week this week, so some more recognition for the area and what he was able to get done in that first week against Baldwin. I am going to go with the Baser Bobcats against Bonner Springs. Baser owns Bonner.
And they're going to continue to own them. Baser as well.
So let's move on to Piper versus Lewisburg, not Louisville. And I'm riding with Piper until they lose a game. That defense is way too good.
Great analysis.
No analysis needed. They play defense, and they're going to grind it out on the ground. So, I like what they got coming back on defense and what they're doing each week. So I'm riding with Piper.
You know what? Even though Piper wouldn't let us get in the booth for our game one, week one, I want to go ahead and pick Piper as well. Piper, let us in the booth, man. Come on. We've been with you guys for day one. Let us in the booth.
There you go.
Piper.
Vernon laying the law down here. Toganoxie. This is a interesting game here.
Pick 'em.
You're first. Tonganoxie versus Lansing. Lansing at home. Likely minus their running back, depending on what we hear back on this injury on McQuillan.
That is a good thing I didn't think about there, but I'm going to go Lansing at home. I mean, this is one of them kind of pick 'em games for me, so I'm going to go with the home team.
I think we agree there. I'm going to take Lansing. Tonganoxie did not have a good second half there against Turner. Had all the momentum with a 9-point lead at the half and kind of let that slip away. So we'll see if Mr. Hecht, Jared Summers, can surprise us and go to Lansing and get a W. So old school KCK rivalry. Schlegel at Wyandotte. Is it at Wyandotte this year or is it the opposite?
I'm not sure.
Well, either way.
It's not the rivalry that it used to be, but it's still old school rivalry. Schlegel v. Wyandotte.
This might be where they open up the field. First game, football field on the Wyandotte field.
It's a tough one here. My pick?
It is at Wyandotte, I do remember, because we did the game last year.
I just picked the first. I just picked Lansing first, so it's your pick.
Oh, I picked Wyandotte.
You picking Wyandotte?
Yes.
I am too.
Yeah, stop copying.
I'm not.
I'm not going to catch up if you just pick the same thing I do, so you have to go first. No, don't go first on this one. I think we will. Sumner Academy versus Harmon.
Well, you got your Harmon purple on. Why don't you go ahead and pick them? Last year, Harmon, for a half or so.
Harmon played their best half of the year.
Had Sumner on the ropes.
But they had Diedrich Bradley last year and a couple other players there. So
I think we're both agree with Sumner here.
Yeah, I agree. Sumner Academy, real physical players on that team. Derek Sykes made a couple of very nice plays on the outside, had a fumble, and then recovered it himself, and then tipped the ball and intercepted the ball himself too. So they got some players at Sumner Academy.
We don't have a cough button in the studio, so sorry.
You just cue over our multi-talented technical director over here, and he's able to get that.
Yeah, next time I sneeze, put some other type of funny sound in there.
I might be able to do that later. Thanks for giving me that idea.
I mean, I'm just a man of ideas.
Washington travels to Atchison. The surprise red man. Now, we didn't get to talk about this with Coach Smith. We need to decide on this nickname for Mr. Joaquin Gill. Now, my idea, my nickname for him doesn't go with his name very well, but that first step, that first move, call him Flash. He's gone, just like that. Don't even mix his name in it, just call him Flash. And your nickname was?
Joaquin the Thrill Gill.
That sounds a lot better.
It does, man. You can make a sign and everything with that.
Get those shirts ready going up Booster Club at Atchison. Joaquin the Thrill Gill.
I get at least 10%.
You better go patent that first.
Yeah, I just need to make one phone call.
You know, you got the youth entrepreneurs.
No, I make one phone call. I have some people that work in that office.
Who are you picking?
I just talked about this because I was a little conflicted because I did my new rankings for the week, and I have Washington sitting above Atchison in my KCAL rankings. But Atchison's going to get it done at home.
Wow. Bulletin board material for Washington.
Oh, and they read it too. Don't be doubting my team. Twitterverse.
I am going to
Just see that. I mean, I don't know if they can contain Joaquin the Thrill.
I mean, they are the same type of team, I guess, in terms of having athletes and stuff. But I think the biggest difference between Washington and Sumner Academy is the front line, that penetration that's going to come straight from the middle. They won't have to blitz as much to get that initial pressure and get Joaquin Gill moving. I am going to take the Wildcats.
That's our difference.
That's one. It's Mill Valley versus Derby, I think. Or who are you picking?
Derby.
I'll pick Derby as well.
Don't hold that against me, Coach. I still want that shirt, baby.
No disrespect, but that is a tough game at Derby.
You got to go there.
I'm probably on a bus. You're looking at what, 2.5 hours?
It's down by Wichita, further than Wichita. So
a hike, needless to say. All right, so we're through our games. And, you know, a lot of good games this week. Who's kind of standout performance or, you know, what was the biggest surprise for you this week?
Biggest surprise? Maybe the thrill. You know, watching him out there kind of skating around. Atchison power game was a little bit surprising the way he was able to power the ball a little bit.
I'm going to go with Baser. That defense has stepped up. I mean, last year, again, we talked about it early in the season. You know, what was it? Was it Khalil Bailey that it couldn't, as much as they did, you kind of see what the impact is. You know, you might have lost some other players on that team too, but Baser's defense has been turned upside down almost from what they did last year.
Yeah.
I know Lansing ate them alive last year through the air and on the ground. So the Baser Linwood Bobcats are going strong. So maybe I'll have to reach out to Coach Stahlbaumer and see if we can have a conversation, a sit down, come into the hot corner, the hot SHUKC corner, and have a conversation next week.
I was just wondering what our game of the week is, but I forgot we won't have our engineer with us this week. So
I might be a photographer this week, working on my amateur photographer. I think I'm going to, although I may reach out and see what we can do, maybe go into Baser versus Bonner Springs. They may have a setup over there that we might be able to use. Reach out to my guy, Chad Rader at 810 Varsity. See if we can get a line there. Any closing comments, Mr. Vernon Birmingham?
don't have any closing comments.
Any words of wisdom?
Nah.
Should we bring the nature boy back?
Nope. He's not coming back. But I should always remember, people, Wu-Tang is for the children.
All right, this is David Brox with Vernon Birmingham, Mark Snyder on the board. SHUKC Sports Pass. We'll see you next week.